And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken right here on BearcatJournal.com. Make sure you visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Do what I had somebody message me on Twitter tonight, Aaron. They went to Galactic Fried Chicken. They got their dinner. They came home. They enjoyed their Galactic Fried Chicken while watching the Bearcats get a win. And they said, pump it up. They saved 15%. Like, that's a winning night.
Nice.
That's an outstanding night. That's as good a night as you can get. Or if you don't want to leave the comfort of your own home, you can go to the app and you can order Galactic Fried Chicken, and it will bring it to your house pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop. All right, let's get this show on the road. Bearcats 81-55 over Tulsa tonight. It is the second lowest point total for Tulsa in conference play this season, behind only Houston. It was a little bit ugly early. Then the offense got rolling. They ripped off I believe a 16-0 run. Finished the final 10 minutes of the first half really strong. Doubled up Tulsa. It was 14-13 at one point in time. Tulsa was leading in the first half. And the half finished Cincinnati 36, Tulsa 18. So what's that?
Yeah.
A 26-4 run to end the half. That's pretty good.
Pretty good, I would say.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, Tulsa goes 6 of 28 in the first half. That's not great. 0 for 6 from 3.
Their philosophy of relying on contested long twos the entire first half was one I found interesting. I didn't think that was a great offensive philosophy from Tulsa in the first half.
Well, and even Cincinnati, they didn't shoot the lights out in the first half. They only finished at 38% in the first half, 13-34. 4 of 16 from 3 helps you out there. But second half, they really turned it on. 18-33, almost 55%, 5 of 12 from 3. We heard from Landers and JD in the post game.
Landers was on one today.
He was. He was. He was mad about some rebounds, apparently.
His teammates are stealing rebounds from him. He wanted to get 15 and felt like they held him back a little bit from getting to 15.
Well, he's only credited here on the UC's website for 13, so we'll see.
Yeah, he had 13. No, he had 13, but he felt like he said his goal was to get 15, and he felt like some teammates were battling for balls with him that he felt should have been his, so that he could have gotten to those 15 rebounds, and he took umbrage.
What a problem to have. Teammates fighting for rebounds because they're all hungry for rebounds. I did like that he mentioned that everybody has gotten better at rebounding because he's gone into the locker room and called them all soft.
Yeah,
I thought that was fantastic, and I think that gives some credence to. I think that gives some credence to the fact that we wanted him to be a leader, and it sounds like he is stepping into that role.
That's what I've wanted. That's what I've been asking to see, who was going to step up and be that locker room guy that would challenge your manhood, that would say, "Hey, man, you had 3 rebounds tonight. Like, get your head out of your ass."
It's funny that when you finally get back there after 5 weeks away, 6 weeks away, whatever it was, we find that out within 2 minutes of questions. Weird. Thanks for not writing stories and instead just asking questions that people want to know the answers to. Hat tip to you.
Thank you. Does that mean I asked the hard questions, Aaron? Go ask the hard questions.
It just means you ask questions instead of trying to write an article about a certain thing. Like, that can be okay too. Those types of questions are necessary so we can find out, I don't know, other stories to write. Anyway.
Anyhow.
I did see plenty of minutes, though, being spread around, kind of like we talked about last night. We got to see some expanded minutes for Kalu Ezikpe, and I thought he looked good in those expanded minutes and did not look like the player that we saw early on this season.
Yeah. Some of that, Odie was in foul trouble, especially early. That required Kalu to play more minutes in the first half. This is one of the things I've been wanting to ask about, and because I haven't been there, I haven't had the chance. They're playing Vic at the 4. Like when Odie and Vic play together, the majority of the time, Vic is playing the 4 and Odie's playing the 5. And now they did that tonight with Kalu coming in and playing with Vic at times. Kalu stayed at the 5 and Vic moved to the 4. And if you watch the post-game press conference, Wes had some comments on that about challenging Vic to be a better player, to be able to be versatile enough to guard 4s and 5s and to learn both positions on offense and on defense. And
didn't he even mention him stepping out behind the arc?
He can shoot the 3.
I'm aware he can shoot the 3, but I'm fairly certain he even mentioned that specifically tonight.
He did. He said when he becomes a better free throw shooter, we will allow him to start expanding his range, but he doesn't get to expand his range until he steps to the line and knocks down, 70, 75% from the line. And then he can kind of start expanding out. But that is something, as Vic continues to grow, as Vic continues to become a better player, he will be able to start. And another thing that I've wanted to, I felt like I had 1,000 questions to ask tonight. I almost joked. They said I should have opened the West press conference. He threw me off with his opening comments and had me kind of choked up. But they said I should have started out going, so Tulane, January 1st. And then our guy Neil was like, you should be like, and Mariah Carey, favorite Mariah Carey song from 90s at 9 night.
Yep. That would have been pretty good.
That would have been pretty funny. But I had a lot to get to, and we talked about Vic and the pick and roll and how much better him and Dave have gotten in that cohesion, because we're seeing Vic roll and get the ball a ton more than we did the first half of the season.
And it's so easy for him. Once he's under the hoop, he just goes up 2-hand flush, done and done, as opposed to...
And he knows angles, though. Like, he made one up and under.
That's the difference, though, between Odie on the pick and roll, where Odie gets it, and he goes up, even tonight, went up 2 hands, and still wasn't able to connect. He did get to the line. He was fouled.
Yeah.
But it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Just...
But guess what happens, Aaron? When you have a guy like Vic that's effective in the pick and roll, if he can shoot the 3, then he starts to pick and pop. And they're playing to stop the roll because they know how effective he is at it. And then he just takes 2 steps to the left and he's wide open for a 3. So, like, we are watching him expand his game in front of our eyes.
He's evolving every day. It's crazy.
Once you get better at this, then it opens up that. Once you get better at that, then it opens up a third thing. And, like, I don't remember a big man here like him in that, like, remember Gary, they like, you had to throw the ball to Gary in the post.
Yeah.
And Gary
he'd back you down.
But he was very good throwing him in the post. Yancey, throw it in the post. Justin Jackson even worked a little in that 12 feet and in. Fortson,
Hicks,
Trey Scott. Trey was probably the best one I remember rolling, picking, executing the roll part of the pick and roll. But you got a 6'10" guy that can move and has soft hands, and you've got defenses. What did we talk about a week or two ago? The reason that's starting to get open, I think it was the Memphis game where Memphis was running. They were blitzing the ball screen or high hedging the ball screen and trying to jump Dave and pushing Dave back. Well, now Dave is finding this outlet. So guess what's going to happen, Aaron? Teams aren't going to be able to jump Dave off the ball screen. They're not going to be able to run 2 at him because Dave has done such a great job. 9 assists again tonight. He had 9 assists against Houston. Weston, he's averaging over the past 5 or 7 games or whatever. He's averaging 7+ assists a game. And yeah, and it changes the way teams defend you.
Well, as a team, they had 22 assists on 31 shots tonight. Just really great night for passing the ball. I think the best pass of the night was probably Nolly's one-handed 3/4 of the court pass, I believe, to Davenport. Davenport gets fouled on the layup, but that was probably my favorite pass of the entire night.
It becomes contagious. It's like rebounding. Playing team basketball is contagious because what happens? Everybody gets involved. Everybody is stuffing the stat sheet. Everybody is feeling good about their contributions. And then that's how you get it to go beyond scoring, right? Because then everybody is hungry Dave is hungry to win. Dave doesn't care if he scores 27 points or if he gets 8 assists or if he gets 10 rebounds. Like, what do I have to do to help the team tonight with the way the opponent is trying to stop us? And you are starting to see this become a team, right? And it is fun to watch. Now, disclaimer, Tulsa is fucking terrible.
Not great.
That was a bad basketball team. There were points. I don't think Cincinnati particularly played great for 40 minutes.
It wasn't Houston. It wasn't the same effort they gave Houston, no.
I think there was a 10-minute stretch here and a 5-minute stretch there and a 4-minute stretch here.
The first, 8 minutes of play were sloppy.
Yeah. The defense they weren't dialed in defensively. Tulsa was kind of getting to, they're not good enough to really, exploit Cincinnati for that.
I felt like Cincinnati was running too fast. They had to almost slow it down to get in their rhythm before they were able to really take off. But
I thought offensively they still got good looks. Their passing wasn't as crisp as it was. You're right.
Later on
as
in
the game developed,
but
I still thought they were getting pretty good shots. I didn't have a whole lot of problem other than Jeremiah's first jumper. Heat check, just, as soon as it touched his hands. And I turned around and I looked at Justin and Russ behind me and I was like, I'm back! Ha! Some things never change. But he reeled it in and he ended up 4 of 8 from 3. He was the leading scorer with 20 points. He had a really good game. Just the first one. Sometimes that first one, he just fires it as soon as it touches his fingertips to see if it's going to be that kind of night.
No, it's not the first one. It's almost all of them. Almost all of the passes that touch his hands, he does that with. But
no, I thought he was better. He attacked a closeout a couple times tonight.
He played well tonight. That's not me trying to knock JD. He played well tonight. It's just you never know. He never saw a shot he didn't like.
He likes to shoot.
Good bounce back game for Micah after he's had some rough goes lately.
Yeah.
He has 10 points, 5 assists himself. On a night where everybody was passing quite a bit. 4 of 8 from the field for Micah, 1 of 4 from 3. He still doesn't have the 3-stroke that he's had for a large part of the season. It's disappeared over the course of the last, 4 or 5 games now.
Yeah.
But good to see him have a bounce-back night. And I thought Dan had it wasn't his best game, but I thought
really
it was
good.
Top 3, top 5 performance for Dan. He wasn't afraid to attack, and you love to see that, but he was actually finishing when he was attacking today, as opposed to
that finger roll at the rim where he went baseline and he was just up there
hanging around.
Just drop this in here real quick.
Yep.
Sometimes his talent startles you.
Well, I mean, I feel the same way about Vic at times, where even today he had a putback dunk where I was afraid that he was going to be afraid to touch it because offensive goaltending. It was still above the rim, what it looked like anyway, but it was.
He waited though. If you watched, he waited a second.
He caught it at almost the apex, waiting, and then slams it home 2 hands. But but Dan was very fun to watch, and like Wes said in the presser, as he continues to develop, he's only going to continue to be more fun to watch as that part of his game where he's finishing. Starts to really take off.
Yeah, and again, Tulsa stinks, but I would guess Dan went into practice this week and felt pretty motivated by not being able to get going in that Houston game. and kind of getting back to the basics. I think for some reason he has changed his 3-point shot. And I don't know if it's because he hasn't been able to get hot and find and it almost looks like he's shot putting it. And the one that he made, he caught it right in the pocket and shot it so quick that I don't think he had time to think about it. It was a perfect pass for a 3, where you don't have time to bring it down to your waist, and you know what I mean? It just was boom, and he hit it. I think he needs to stop thinking on his perimeter jump shot. I think it's in his head, because that doesn't look like the form I saw from him at the beginning of the year.
I just think that tonight you saw, between the 19 minutes that Dan had, the 11 minutes that Kalu had, and the 9 minutes that Rob Finney had, I thought those were all very important minutes for all 3 of those guys, and will do nothing, especially in a get-right game like Tulsa. It's going to do nothing but establish confidence in these players to be able to move forward as you're rounding out the season.
Think about it this way, Aaron. I think this is the important way to look at it. That's 40 minutes essentially that you got.
39, yeah.
And then you add the 24 from JD. That's 63, 64 minutes you got from your bench. Quality 63, 64 minutes that you got from your bench.
Not including the garbage time minutes played by CJ Anthony.
Yeah. I'm focusing on those 4 specific guys. That's how you win in the second half of the season. Is you and another thing I asked Wes about tonight, with Rob and Kalu, they haven't played pretty much all year, right? You've got 2 guys that you can now disperse with fresh legs against opponents that are wearing down, that are dealing with kind of the dog days of February. And boy, there was a couple possessions defensively where with Rob, it was yep, that's why he's here. Where the way he slides his feet, his footwork defensively, the way he's able to stay in front of people, that's especially sometimes all it takes when a guy is hot is to get 3 or 4 minutes from somebody off the bench that cools him, that gets in his head and gets him out of his rhythm. Yeah. And then when the next guy comes in, you've already distracted, if you will. You've already kind of got him off his pace. So I think that was really good from Rob. I like what I'm seeing from Kalu. And yeah, Dan was very good tonight.
That's all I got.
Let's look at some of the intangible stuff. I haven't really dissected any of this yet because I spent a lot of time talking tonight. Only 6 turnovers.
They did out rebound 44 to 32, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but Silabanyu, is that how you say it? Silabanyu, yeah. Leads the conference in rebounding and offensive rebounds. Only held to 3 offensive rebounds, although he did have 15 rebounds total. But yeah, UC still dominated them on the glass, winning by 12.
Well, they had 25 defensive rebounds. He had 13 of them. He had half of their defensive rebounds. They didn't have anybody else with more than 4. So, only 6 turnovers. They won points off turnovers 17-5. Rebounding, like you said, 44-32. Second chance points, they won 14-9. 35-12 in bench points. 34-28 in the paint. 13-4 in fast break. They had 4 blocks to none for Tulsa. 5 steals to 1 for Tulsa. How about this one, Aaron? 22 assists to 5.
I mean, when you're only making a grand total of 18 field goals in a game, though, it's a little hard to find the assists.
Well, but I mean, a good passing team's going to have 10 or 11.
On 18?
On 18? Yeah. Cincinnati had what?
If you're a good passing team, you're probably making more than 18 shots.
Fair. Cincinnati had 22 on 31. That's a similar ratio if you're up at 10.
That's like 1 to 4 versus 2 to 3.
It's better than 5. I'm just like, it's the defense did a good job making them play in isolation. They didn't let the ball pop for Tulsa. But again, woof, that's a not good Tulsa team.
Right.
Big one on Saturday.
Yeah, UCF
they've been struggling.
But they've also been a thorn for some of the stronger teams in the conference. So
be interesting. We will get to that tomorrow.
It is the coaches versus cancer game, also food pantry night, and wear white.
Okay.
That's what it says on the website. Okay. I don't know.
It was good to be back. It was good to be back. 1, 2. Thank you to Wes for what he had to say at the beginning of his post-game press conference. And he's right. If they had a team full of dudes as tough as Kelly, they wouldn't have many losses. Guarantee you that. That's the nightcap. See you tomorrow night. Brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.